Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and tonight I'm joined by Chris McElwain, and we're sitting here to talk about Midtjylland 3, Celtic 0. First 30 minutes of that game, Chris. I wouldn't say we went toe-to-toe. I think we contained them.
Yep.
And then there was a 10-minute period where it all just fell to bits. Really, really poor defending. And listen, yeah, the finishing was good, but we made it too easy for them, Chris. We made it too easy for them to cut through us and score those goals.
Yeah, I knew going into the game that Midtjylland were a quality outfit, real attacking outfit, quite slick. I said that they would go after the fullbacks, and I think they did. I think they probed a lot and showed their quality. I think Mbabu and Osario on that right hand side. I think down there, the other side, we were getting, they were getting a lot of purchase. We also saw Francolino. I mean, you can see why he scored 18 goals this season. Real danger man, a real pest up there. But you're right. I think for the first 30, just over 30 minutes, I thought we did what we had to do. We kept it tight. We weren't able to offer too much. A couple of wee half chances to break, but unfortunately lacking a bit of quality, lacking that final ball. But the important thing was to try and contain them. And I think for the opening 30 minutes we did that. But it looked to me that they were starting to recognise that they could get a lot of purchase down our right hand side, down their left hand side. For me, Ralston and Forrest, they need to get closer, try and either stop the cross or stop the Midtjylland players from cutting inside. And actually, after we lost the first goal, I think they smelled blood, and they were able to almost waltz into our box for the second goal. An excellent finish, by the way, but we'd multiple opportunities to cut that out. Engels, I think, a little bit guilty as well, and not trying to get a foot on that. And then the third goal, I mean, look, it's quality, but I'm looking for Tenekte to get his body in front of that shot, trying to anticipate where that's going. But look, I'm finding it hard to be too critical of the team, because for me, this is, the performance, and for some individuals, not been good enough tonight. Collective performance has not been good enough tonight to compete. But you see the difference in a squad which has been well assembled, has utilised smart recruitment, not spent big sums of money. I mean, there's an example I want to bring in a second to talk about, why I think that's the case. But they've not spent big sums of money, but they're well drilled. They're like a well drilled outfit, and I think that's something we should look at and say, okay, that's another model that we can, that we should maybe try and adopt.
Well, it's another reminder of playing a team with a model, playing a team with a recruitment strategy. Tony Bloom with obviously Jamestown. You then look at something that Rory Hamilton mentioned more often than not. If you were having a drinking game every time Rory Hamilton mentioned the fact that this team was driven by data, would be bluttered. And by the way, he's enjoying this far too much, is Rory Hamilton on the TNT commentary team. Seriously, what was the last comment just as we went into half-time? Cheers for that, Rory. The Martin O'Neill revolution hits the buffers. Seriously, mate. Right, so we're looking at this. Midtjylland turnover, 17 million quid. 17 million quid turnover. Right, so, there are issues if you want to look deeper in the respect of how our football club is run, Chris, and we can't forget that. I'm looking at this performance tonight, however, and I'm looking at a right back in Tony Ralston. Doesn't matter how well your club's run. Go and stop that boy from crossing the ball, please.
Basics. Basics.
Kieran Tierney, who we huffed and puffed for to bring him up the road, giving the ball away. Just passing the ball right into the path of the Midtjylland player who, at that point, we are under the cosh for that 10 minutes and we start putting the ball away. We start panicking. Scales gives the ball away. So, by the way, I'm not going to let the board off the hook. We will be digging into that in the coming months, absolutely. But see, on tonight's performance alone, Chris, we've got to do so much better. We gave them on a plate. Yeah, the finishing was good. Of course it was good. But we made it too easy for them. And can I also say, 3 or 4 Kasper Schmeichel saves tonight. Otherwise, this is an absolute mauling. I mean, 3-0's not very good at half-time, but it could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for Kasper.
It could be, yeah. That was actually the one that really stood out for me. I think was Osario hit the shot from the edge of the box.
Great save.
It bounces right in front of Casper, and Casper manages to get down to it really quickly, and that was a difficult one. But yeah, you're right. I'm not looking at Casper too critically tonight. I'm looking at the defence. But I'm actually I'm looking at our midfield as well. I'm looking for Callum McGregor and I'm looking for Arnie Engels to try and get a grip of this game. Now the example I wanted to talk about the how well drilled this Midtjylland team is. I'm looking at Billings. They're number 8. Not sure what his position is, whether he's a centre back or a kind of defensive midfielder. But he's sweeping up any limited attack we've had, any movement to get the ball towards Kenny or Tenekte. He's sweeping it up, and he's a boy. He's one of the biggest, in terms of sheer size, one of the biggest footballers I've ever seen. But he's got a bit of ability as well, and played very, very clever. I thought he was a kind of unsung hero for Midtjylland in that first half. I'm looking for Engels or McGregor to look at how he's controlling the defensive element of Midtjylland's game. How he's just sweeping every ball up and playing it on and getting it to the I guess you could say more of the flair players from Midtjylland. We need to do more. I'm looking for our big players to really step up and take a little bit more command and control in that deep midfield of ours, because we're giving them the freedom of the pitch just now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to bring in our new contributor tonight. It's Stephen Ray. Hopefully everything goes to plan. Stephen, fantastic to see you. Sorry we couldn't get you in the pre-match, mate. But we got you in for the good one. It's half-time. We're 3-0 down. Where did it all go wrong for you?
Do you know, it's been 5 years since I've been on a podcast, and it might be another 5 years.
I wouldn't blame you after that performance.
Yeah, we just looked so open. I mean, we looked good for 2 minutes. We get a shot away straight down the keeper's throat, and then straight after that, we just looked so open. They were through and go a number of times. Thankfully, the boy in right wing didn't have the pace to beat Trusty, but it could be anything in that first half. It's been a shambles, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that has been a shambles. And what happens is you get a couple of games, you get a couple of results, and some people don't even want you to enjoy it because they're saying, we've not done anything yet. The big test is on Thursday night. Well, I'm glad I enjoyed it, because this brings you right back down to earth with a bang. But what I was saying, Stephen, before you came on, is regardless of all the issues, and the club has issues, and we know them, and they've been well documented, and we'll keep talking about them. There's a lot of basics that we're getting wrong in that first half. I mean, Chris was talking there about our midfield. Our midfield's been virtually non-existent. Certainly not giving the back line enough protection, is it?
No. You've got Ralston standing off for the 2 goals. He just stop the cross. It's bog standard coaching you get when you're a kid. The boy just waltzes past him for the second one. The first one, he just stands off and lets him stand up the cross. It's just, my head's all over the shop just even thinking about watching it. It's been a shambles. But there's been no defence in the midfield. They're just cutting right through us. We seem to be, the gaps between the full-backs and the centre-backs is massive. They're running right through us, and if we don't get a grip of it, it could be 5-6 in that second half.
This is the fear. I mean, and we've seen it too often, and we've seen it against European giants. You're thinking PSG, Borussia Dortmund, Barcelona. Now, no disrespect to Midtjylland, when you look at the way that they have built this football club and the team in an incredibly short space of time, and you look at us sitting on our hands constantly when it comes to the complacency that we have, when we've got we've actually got an embarrassment of riches when it comes down to finance, and not being able to actually have a strategy and build on any kind of progress. I'm going to bring in as much as I can in terms of the commenters. There's plenty of you watching, 2,500 live. Ewan Martin, horror show. Why? One for each goal conceded there, Ewan. Have we not changed shape or formation when it was obvious we were getting ripped apart? This, Ewan, I think for the first 30 minutes, although we contained them, it was in the post. And when when it opened, when the first goal went in, the floodgates opened. Do you think we'll see a change at halftime? We've seen sometimes Brendan Rodgers doing this, Chris, where he became frustrated at halftime and he made personnel changes. Is it more of a shape change we need? Because what Stephen says earlier on, what we don't want is to be on the end of a mauling tonight.
We don't, but we didn't go into any European competition this season equipped. So, I mean, I'm looking at the bench and I'm thinking who potentially could come on and actually, shore us up. I'm not sure there's anyone capable of doing that at the moment. I'm looking at players like Maeda. I mean, Maeda maybe might be an option up front with his work rate. One of Maeda's strengths is he can defend from the front, come back and try and win the ball and bring other players into it. I think Kenny struggled to do that tonight. You may be looking at an Osmond coming in on the right-hand side. Boy, has something to prove. He's got something about him, lots of pace. Maybe, go and press them. For me, there was 2 or 3 occasions where we got into positions where we could have hurt Midtjylland, but we didn't have the quality to execute it. A couple of times we got in behind. One ball frustratingly comes off Kenny's heel. Another one, Kenny has a chance to bring in Forrest, knocks it out the park. Just didn't have the quality or the patience to make it work. So we've got players who maybe could exploit that, but we have to shore up the defensive frailties at the moment. And for me, I'm looking at Engels. I'm saying, come on, use your physicality, bully them a little bit because they're bullying us. Get in and bully them a little bit. Try and win the ball. Make it tough for them. I think Stephen's point is spot on. We keep backing off. It's almost like we're trying to contain their attack, and they're doing the horseshoe, but they're doing the horseshoe very well because their horseshoes continually compressing in, and we're allowing them to do it. We have to push out and get closer. The one change I would make is I'd probably take Forrest off and possibly look at putting either Osmond or Maeda out on the right to give that right back position a bit of support, because I don't think Forrest has got the legs to do it anymore.
I think if you're looking at personnel and you're looking at individual performances, there's been a few poor individuals. Both fullbacks I don't think have done well tonight. Yep. You then look into the midfield. I don't think Nygren's covered himself in glory. And Tuneke, first 10 minutes, I think Big Umal will be saying, this is what we need to do, give him the ball. He's not had enough in the final third. And Johnny Kenny, like you say, there's not been much in the way of opportunities for him, but when he has had the ball, he's not done particularly well. So I think in terms of personnel, Stephen, you could certainly change that up. What about a shape, though? Do you think Martin O'Neill's going to change the shape to try and shore this up? Because the last thing you want, and it's not just as a one-off result, you just don't want the momentum to be affected by tonight either, do you?
No, I'll be honest, I'm not even sure what shape we're playing, to be honest. Just the players are just getting pulled out of position all over the shop. I think he may end up just going with a 4-4-1-1. I wouldn't be surprised if he put Sarachi on it right back and take... I don't know if Ralston was affected with that shot off his head, because he took it clean on his head, and a couple of minutes after that we're 2-0 down. So I definitely think we need to make some changes. I think Kenny's lost up front. I think he's panicked when the balls came to him, like Chris said, the one where, that was an easy pass out to Forrest and he's put it right at the park. I think we need to really shore things up. But the problem with that is we might invite them on even more. So, I think we're caught between a rock and a hard place at this minute.
We are, and it's the biggest. We knew it was going to be the biggest test of the first 3 games. Of course it was, Chris. In the first one, what's your apprehensions in the first one? Well, Martin O'Neill's not been in a dugout for 6 years. You move into the second one, we don't have a great record against Rangers since Brendan Rodgers came back a couple of years ago. So, yeah, we knew what we were up against. Tonight was a much bigger challenge, and we knew it. They've got quality. They've got quality all over the park. I would expect some changes. Springing, check this out. Just when we're down, give us a dig, bring Nick Walsh on at half-time. Nick Walsh had a dreadful game, by the way, for both clubs at the weekend, I've got to say. Right, and we've also got Mark McMonigal. But again, this goes back to Rodgers' frustration, not getting quality players for Europe. Yes, Mark, it is an underlying issue. And I think what we're seeing tonight is a club on a much smaller scale, when you look at the financial backing that this club has, being able to maximise their performance, being able to maximise their recruitment. And when they spend money, they're buying players who fit their system. They're not just, cobbling together players and throwing them in and hoping that it works. So, yes, I think that if we needed reminded, we certainly need to change our system of recruitment. We're now going back to the second half action. Everybody that's come on, Maeda's coming on. He's coming on to play. Someone else standing next to him is coming
Osmond's on for Kenny.
Okay, Osmond coming in. I think that's a good move. I do. I think that's a good move. So Maeda and Osmond are on at half time. Big night for the youngster. And Johnny Kenny is off. Who's coming off for Maid? Is it Jamesy Forrest, I'm maybe thinking?
I think so, yeah.
I can see Tunecki's still on there. Right, let's go and join the action for the second half and join us at full time for a Celtic State of Mind.